Part 2. Verdant Wind. Harpstring Moon. The Golden Scheme. Claude leverages his victory at the Battle of Gronder to secure reinforcements from Alliance lords. Meanwhile, the Imperial Army continues to tighten its defenses at Fort Merceus in anticipation of an attack on the Imperial capital.
Thank you for helping me with my training again today, Professor. I'm gonna keep at it for a while longer, so you go on ahead. I can't. Not when I'm right on the cusp of using my power to greater potential. Surely you yourself are tired. Just don't worry about me, okay? I'm sorry, Professor. It was careless of me to continue, despite how fatigued I clearly was. I probably should have listened to you. Now I've made a mess of things. I can't help but feel the need to rush in all things constantly. You get that way when you realize you haven't got much time. I believe I've mentioned that House Ordelia was, at one time, being controlled by people from the Empire. During that time, strange people, mages perhaps, came and performed rituals on all the youth within my family. With the Empire monitoring our every move, my parents could do nothing but watch in horror as all of this unfolded. One after another, the children died, until the only one left was me. You know, my hair wasn't always this color. During their experiments, they'd been doing things with my blood. One morning, I awoke like this. A shock of white hair, all trace of pigment gone. Upon seeing me, the mages were delighted. They realized that their experiments had finally succeeded. Sure enough, they ran a test and saw that two crests coexisted within me. Losing pigment from my hair wasn't the only loss. The mages informed me that my lifespan was now greatly shortened. 5 more years at most, perhaps less. Shortly thereafter, the mages lost interest in me, and we never saw them in the Ordelia household again. Since all that, our family has been in decline. It's challenging now even to govern our territory. After all my mother and father have suffered, I at least want them to have peace as they grow older. That is all I wish for, but I haven't much time to ensure it comes to pass. It's not like what's been done to me can be undone. Professor, the only way I can conceive of would be to remove my crest somehow. But I don't know if that's even remotely possible. Even if it were, I wouldn't be of much use to you and the others without my crests. You sound resolved. I'll allow your resolve to bolster my own. Thank you, Professor.
Our objective is Enbar, the Imperial capital, but our greatest obstacle lies before that.
And what's that?
Fort Merceus. If we can't pass through, we won't be able to reach Enbar.
Fort Merceus, the impregnable fortress.
or so it's called.
If I recall correctly, it's sometimes referred to as the Stubborn Old General.
It is a massive fortress that was constructed to protect the Imperial capital.
The Imperial army we defeated has withdrawn to Enbar. Fort Mercius should be short on soldiers for now.
Yes, it would be good to finish up here before more enemy reinforcements arrive. The only real question is what our fearless leader intends to do.
Sorry for the delay, everyone. Those mewling lords kept me from leaving for quite some time.
So, were you able to secure additional reinforcements?
It's gonna have to wait until next month. It doesn't look like they can afford to keep supporting us at present.
Then what should we do about Fort Mercius? Do you plan on waiting around?
No, if we wait until next month, the enemy will have bolstered their defenses. That said, the prevailing theory is that you need triple your enemy's forces to take a fortress with a frontal assault.
Right. That's what we were taught at the Academy. And this is Fort Mercius we're talking about. It's renowned for its strong defenses.
Our current army isn't nearly strong enough. What to do?
Whatever you do, just don't ask us to scale those huge walls. We'd end up dead when they hurl rocks down at us.
Yeah, no thanks. If only someone would open up the gates for us from the inside.
Unfortunately, we don't have any spies in there. Wait a minute. I've got it. We sneak in, stir up confusion, and open the gates ourselves to let our allies in.
Right, that's what I was saying all along.
Right, nice one, Hilda. But how do you propose we go about sneaking in?
Disguises? If we dress up like Imperial soldiers, maybe they'll think we're allies and let us in. Do you really think they'd just open the gates for us? I'd be pretty dumbfounded if that worked.
No, she's onto something. It's a good idea, Hilda. We just need to refine it a bit, and we'll be in there before we know it.
Really? Go me!
What is your definition of refining the idea? I know your go-to strategy is nausea-inducing poison, but...
Oh, I maybe ate too much. My stomach hurts.
Raphael, why are you eating meat during a war council?
So, fearless leader, I'm guessing you're going to keep the crucial parts of your scheme under wraps until the time comes, aren't you?
You know me so well, Judith. Whether we like it or not, this war puts a damper on all of our spirits. What's wrong with trying to have a little fun every now and again? Just leave the details to me. Teach.
I wonder how far we can get with this plan, dressing up like Imperial soldiers to sneak in. Claude said it could use some refinement. Any ideas? Dress me as Edelgard, but we look nothing alike. On second thought, let's just stick to the plan as originally conceived. That seems safer. Excuse me, could you do me a favor? Thanks so much. You're a sweetheart.
Each time we take a step forward, more blood is spilled. But by spilling that blood, we're able to take yet another step forward. War is always a cruel affair. But luckily, we have each other to lean on. We've steeled our hearts. We won't be broken. I couldn't agree more. Without them, we could never have made it this far. Oh, and about taking the fort, I'll need a tad more time to prepare our plan. It's called an impregnable fortress for a reason, after all. My contingencies need contingencies this time, or we may not pull it off.
I think.
Please tell Claude not to give us any more ridiculous orders. I've reached out through all of my channels, but there are limits to these things. I'll have to recruit an entire town's worth of people if I ever plan on making enough Imperial uniforms.
Hilda's quite a tactician, disguising ourselves as enemy soldiers to sneak in undetected. A stroke of brilliance. With this strategy, we can really snatch victory from the jaws of deceit. Yes, with you leading our fighters, I've no doubt the Empire will suffer an embarrassing deceit. Get it? Deceit again?
Right.
Let's see. Guess what I noticed? I can see further than most other people can see. But I can't figure the point of seeing further than an arrow can fly, since I can't shoot what I see. Yeah, I suppose it could be real useful for finding Lady Rhea, too. Thanks, Professor. I think I get it now. I'm gonna put my eyes to real good use.
Fort Mercius is a keep that was constructed to defend the Imperial capital, Enbar. We cannot enter the capital without first capturing that fort. But once we have it, the city should be almost entirely at our mercy. Whatever strategy you have in mind, I have faith that it will lead to victory.
Well,
Professor!
Professor, the battle at Gronder Field was gruesome, wasn't it? But perhaps it's irresponsible to look away, to close our eyes to the horrors of war. Thank you. But I think I do, actually. As survivors, we must ensure that all these lives were not lost in vain. We must see the tragic foundations upon which we'll build our future. May an age of peace rise from the ashes, so that all this sacrifice means something.
As I suspected, they seem to be supporting the Imperial Army now. Though I don't quite know who they are yet. Nor do I know what tricks they'll use against us next. We can't afford to let our guard down.
Fort Mercius is old and strong. Its reputation for durability is equal to that of Aryan Road. Are we really going to leave this to Claude, with a plan concocted by Hilda of all people? I thought you might be, with how secretively that man devises his schemes. Let us hope the end result is not too outlandish.
Hi. Maybe. Hi there.
No, sir. A class reunion on the battlefield? That's bleak. That must have been so hard on everyone. You gotta keep looking after them all. I mean, they still look to you for guidance, you know?
Hello! Will this one do? It's all yours. Tell your friends.
No.
Hey, Claude takes care of the strategy, you direct the troops, and the rest of us focus on the fighting. As long as the system keeps working, we can win any battle, no matter the odds. That's what everyone's saying, anyway. Hope you can keep up with our expectations, Professor. Professor, standing face to face with those whom I went to school with.
On the field of battle. How inhuman war is. How horrifying. My heart feels shattered. It is my hope that this war marks the end of such foolish behavior.
Professor, you know when you work your muscles and they start screaming? That means you gotta be nice to them. If your muscles are hungry, you gotta feed them. And let them rest when they're tired. What do you mean, how? You just gotta eat and sleep. It's pretty obvious. What's with the confused face, Professor? You look like you don't get a word I'm saying.
Hey, you.
Yes.
Ah, Professor, I have a question for you. Have you heard of the Death Knight? I'm referring to that Imperial general who has been operating under that moniker. Nothing is certain yet, but I get the feeling we'll have to face him soon enough.
Okay.
I never used to care whether I lived or died. But after seeing so much death firsthand, I now realize how precious life truly is. I'm ashamed of how arrogant I was to think that death could mean so little.
Wow, I hardly recognize everyone. Their faces have changed so much. More experience in the eyes, and more pain. I'm glad that they're stronger, but I hate to think they've all become hardened killers. Look after them, okay? Try to keep them on the straight and narrow.
Hey, you.
That smell, it's amazing. My fave, in fact. Do you like it too?
This is so good. Can I have seconds?
I like seeing a table full of my favorite dishes.
This is delicious! My absolute favorite!
That looks delicious. Goddess forgive me, I've just got to indulge.
My favorite meal at my favorite cost. Free. Gotta love this place.
I like this dish. It was my father's favorite.
The flavor is nostalgic to me for some reason. I'd like some more.
Yummy! Who made this? I'll have to give my compliments to the chef.
This is nearly as delicious as Mother's cooking. I would happily eat this every day.
This food is a revelation. I can't help but smile when I eat it.
I did not expect much from the dining hall, but this does not disappoint.
Should have seen that coming. Time for second! That's another one. No chance. Get out of here! That's another one. You should have seen that coming.
What's wrong with you?
Shamir! How long have you been there?
Too long. You're blocking my way.
Wait! There's something I wanted to ask you.
Ask? Just make it quick.
Well, you see, whenever I go into battle, the enemy seems to find me right away. I'm an easy target. But I want to be able to move around the battlefield without being noticed, like you do. So what do you think? Would it be possible?
Do you think you're being noticed because of your size?
Of course! I'm pretty hard to miss, you know. I thought that was obvious.
Wrong. It's not your size, it's your presence. It's strong, almost unbearably so.
My presence? Is that something I can change?
With practice. Maybe. Let me ask you, have you ever felt my presence?
Now that I think about it, I haven't. That must be why I didn't notice you earlier. But how can I do that? Will you teach me? Please? Please?
Fine. There's a breathing technique that masks your presence. When you breathe, are you continuously inhaling then exhaling?
Well, of course. That's the best way I know how. I'd explode if I only breathed in.
Right. To minimize your presence, breathe in, then out again. In through the nose, then gently out through the mouth, twice.
In, out, out. That's it? I can definitely do that. I couldn't do it, Shamir!
Breathe less. Keep it to the absolute minimum.
I don't know the minimum.
It'll take some practice.
Sure. I'll keep trying. In, out, out is trickier than it sounds.